Pterodactyl here, and welcome to part 2 of Taryl's tow vehicle. And as you can see, I got the pump mounted back on and the cylinder, and that's working again. I got my counterweight mounted on the back, and I got all the materials for my cover that I'm going to make. I found this out my scrap. You know what this is? It's a belt cover for grasshopper. And that's going to fit perfect right here. Look at that. Covers the gas tank, covers the carburetor, air filter. So I got this ledge here. I'm going to grind them screws off and take this part off. Mount me a piece of angle iron there in its place. And then I got this hinge. I got a couple of these hinges. I forget where I got them from, but they were brand new, still in the package. So I'll cut me that hinge so I could flip it up. You know, it's got this rubber thing on it. And then I got this square tubing, which I'll probably mount up front here. And then I'll weld another piece of angle iron, bridge it across, and that'll be my hood. Then I just gotta make something to cover the pump here, which I think is gonna be a piece of stainless steel. I got a piece of stainless sheet metal. I might have cover over this, and I can flip it up if I have to. I'll put the hinge on the other half of that too. I blocked that off. That's a steering wheel center cap for a steering wheel on tractor, fit right in there. Oh yeah, and one other thing. I got my switch. Single pole, double throw. So that'll make it go up and down. Very simple. Run hot wire to here, power. And then this will go to I'll run a wire from here to that terminal here. There's a terminal here and a terminal here. We'll get the light on it so you can see it better. So one of these terminals makes it go up, one of them makes it go down. So all I gotta do is run a wire from here to there, and another one from here to there. And then a hot wire off the ignition switch going to here. So there was a light switch in here. I guess this mower had lights on it. And this was a fuse holder. So I'm just going to use that hole to make it go up and down. Oh, and another thing, it wasn't charging the battery. They had it wired wrong back there, so I took care of that. Just had to swap a couple wires around, and I was able to get it to start charging. And then put our tires on. Then we can start using this thing. I gotta hurry up and get this done. I need it. I still got plenty to do here on this here tow vehicle. So I got my new boots. And these are the only aggressive boots I could find in this size. These are 18 850 by 8 tires. I could find some bar tread tires that were 18 950 by 8, which means they'd be an inch wider, and I don't have the room in here. It would rub. And I don't want to have to make wheel spacers. So I found these are 18 650 by 8. So they're 2 inches narrower. But if I can get them to seat onto this rim, you know, it'll spread it out like that. So that's gonna be maybe a problem, getting that on there and trying to get the fluid in the wheels for weight. I know this is the exact size tire for the back here, so that shouldn't be a problem. But in the comments, somebody said to use windshield washer fluid instead of that RV antifreeze, because that kind of corrodes the rims and stuff. So I took your advice, sir. got me some windshield washer solvent. So I'm gonna try to fill these tires with it. If I'm not successful, then I'll just make some wheel weights to bolt in there. I've done that before. But I'd like to just fill the tires if I could. So we gotta do that yet. We got that cylinder and everything all hooked back up again. So when I'm sitting on the tow vehicle, I can't see the hitch. So when I'm lining up to tow a tractor, because the hood's in the way that I made. So I went to my favorite place, eBay. You know what eBay stands for, don't you? Ever buy a yak? And I got me one of them backup camera kits. $20. So I'm gonna mount me a backup camera, probably down here, because I was already testing it. I'll weld me a piece of flat stock across here, and then I'll mount this, plus this camera swivels, so I can see the hitch when I'm pulling up. And then I got the little monitor. But then I'm thinking, well, where am I going to mount the monitor? Where are you going to put the monitor? And then plus again, this stuff's going to be out in the weather. And there's going to be sunlight. And then that may hinder you seeing it. Plus this screen is little. It's about the screen the size of a smartphone. So what I'm going to do is I got me an old speaker magnet from a speaker. And I'm going to glue this to that. So that way, if I need to take this in out of the weather, I can just disconnect it, take it out. What are you going to do about the glare, Taryl? What about the glare you're going to have off of that? And where are you going to mount it? Can't mount it to the handlebars. What are you going to do? So Junior had a tractor one time that he bought, a junk tractor, and it had canopy on it. Hey, hey, hey! And I said, Junior, can I have that canopy? And he said, have? Here, you can buy that canopy off me. You ain't getting it for free. That's my own son, flesh and blood. I employ him here, and he won't even give me this. I gotta buy it off him. So I'm gonna mount that back here. So I got me a canopy. So keep me out of the weather. So in case we gotta move a tractor in the rain or in the snow, plus it'll block the sun on the monitor. Well, where are you gonna put the monitor, Taryl? What about the monitor? So I'm gonna get me a piece of flat stock. This plate here I got. This thin plate. And I'm going to weld it to the tube that runs across here. And then with that speaker magnet, I'll have the monitor right here, hanging down right in front of my face and blocking the sun. See, I was thinking. So I have the bracket right here for this canopy. This is the bracket that slides into. So this canopy will be removable. So I'm going to mount that back here. Well, not that way. That's backwards. It's got to go like this. I'm going to mount this back here. And I'll drill and tap some holes in my counterweight. And then I can plug that little canopy in there. So you notice, I got the seat off. I got rid of this boat seat. That probably came from the SS Minnow. Looks like it. Probably Gilligan's seat. And I went out in the junkyard and I had a Sabre. John Deere Sabre junk mower. And I kind of like this seat because it doesn't have anything where it's going to fall apart. And you know, it's just a seat for towing a vehicle. It's not like we're going cross country and I need some kind of comfy seat. This seat will be fine. So I modified the bracket on the bottom And then this was the existing bracket that was mounted to the SS Minnow seat. And it was all busted out and cracked. So I welded this giant flat washer on there and a 1/2-inch bolt. And then once I get the canopy on, I'll locate this where I want it and I'll weld it on. And then I can adjust it by turning this knob, and it can adjust the seat back and forth. So that'll be my seat. Like I said, don't need nothing fancy. And again, this thing is all being designed, and just about 99% of the stuff is just junk that was laying around the shop that I'm building this with. I just had to buy that camera system, and 2 out of 3 tires I had to buy. And then another thing, this front, I only had it mounted here. It was a little springy because I had no side support, so I made a couple of brackets on the side to support it. And then I seen in the comments, you know, that wheel's gonna pop off, and you're right, that wheel did jump off of here. So I drilled a hole in there and got a quick pin, so that with a cable, so we don't lose the quick pin. And then I seen another comment said, Taryl, you need to grind the tape around that bolt. So I did. I go, that's a good idea. So I ground the tape around it, so that make it easier for me to find the hitch when I got my camera going. And then I also put a hole in here too to keep this from jumping off. So a couple little modifications there. And then I was thinking, and then somebody brought this up too, you know, what about the front of a tractor? Maybe you want to pick up a front of a tractor that's junk, you know, and you can't move it, or it's got flat tires. So I thought, you know, I was thinking about that. I should make something. So this is my idea for that. Again, more scrap tubing I had laying around. So we'll slide this in here. And then I got these pieces of square tubing that slide over this, so I can adjust it. And then I'm going to take this bar, again, more junk laying around the shop. This was I believe this was a drive shaft off a grasshopper mower. And it's bent. You know how this got bent? This was the pipe we used. We took this and jammed this in the ground when we did that how to straighten a crankshaft video. Uh-oh! I think I just bent the crankshaft. Because we had to bend the crankshaft down the mower to show you how to straighten it, because we didn't have one here that was bent. And that's what bent that. When we had this thing in the ground. We only had about this much sticking out of the ground. And you know what? Still didn't bend the crankshaft. I don't know how y'all bend crankshafts all the time. We tried to bend that crankshaft when we made that video. I don't know how many pieces of metal we shoved in the ground and hit with that lawnmower, and still couldn't get that crankshaft to bend. Finally, I just brought that mower in the shop, took a big sledgehammer, and just beat that crankshaft till it was bent. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna cut this in half, and I'm gonna weld these to the front of this. And then I'm gonna put some kind of little collar on the end, so we can pull up to the front of a tractor, and then that way I can adjust this for whatever. And we can go under the axle of the tractor. Not under the tires, under the axle. And we can pick it up. Because if it's got flat tires, you know, what good is it gonna do if I had those like hoops? Those little hoops, and the tires would sit in the hoops like on a tow truck. But again, I can make those when I get this setup made. I can just cut me 2 more pieces of square stock like this and make me some hoops on there that the tires can roll into, and then I can adjust it. Because I'm probably just going to drill some holes in here and drop a couple of pins in there, so that way if I need to slide these off, and put some kind of different attachment that I may make later on for something I may need, I'll be able to do that. So, I gotta get cracking, as they say over there in jolly old England. You better get cracking, Taryl! So I'll get cracking on this, get this welded up, get this welded on, get my boots on, get my canopy mounted, get my seat mounted, get my camera system mounted, and then we got some plans. We've been using this already since between part 1 and part 2 here. We've been using this quite a bit, just with this. We've been going around moving tractors, picking them up, dragging them, pushing them. So we've used it quite a bit already. That's why I said, well, I gotta get some kind of camera system, because like I said, you gotta have 2 people. Or another thing I was doing was putting it in neutral and then getting off and standing here and flipping the switch, you know. But then you gotta jump back on and pull forward a little bit, or you gotta have somebody standing there, you know, telling you come up a little bit, come a little bit. So that camera system will work good. So let's see where we got the seat. Seat is all the way back. So I can go as far back as here. And that's where I can weld it. Let me sit on it. See how comfy it is, because I can always move it forward. Junior, you know, if he's driving this, he's got some long legs. Oh yeah, this will be good for Junior, and then I can move it forward for me. Because he may be operating this thing too. So I can weld that on now. And then I'll get me a piece of 1-inch flat stock, and I'll come across here with it, weld it to these bars, probably drill and tap, or maybe put some nuts behind it so we could steady it here. We want to get it, figure out where it's going to be so it looks level. That looks pretty good right there. And then we can see where our seat can go far back like that. All right, looking good, looking good. And then like I said, I'll have that piece of plate welded up in here, and I can have the monitor right here, seeing it swivel. So then I can see exactly when I'm driving up, and it'll be shaded from the sun. And I can take it off of there if I need to. Just have to figure out how I'm going to run the wires. Okay, now I got my front axle lifting rig made where I can slide these wherever I need to, and these little collars are what's going to catch behind the axle. So when I lift it up and start pulling it, it won't slide off these rods. Then if I need to take these off, just take these pins out. So say I want to build maybe another adapter that's got cradles on it for the front tires to go into, and then you raise it up from the front tires. I can add that to this rig. And then I made my own pin for the receiver. Just took a piece of round stock, heated it, bent it, drilled a hole in it with a quick pin. We got the camera mounted and wired into the key switch, so when you turn the key on, the camera comes on. We got the monitor mounted. I had a little trouble with that magnet, which I was told I might for interference. So I ended up using the HV350, and I just glued it to the canopy. I was getting interference when I was running the tractor. So I had to eliminate that magnet. It's not like I was gonna take this camera or monitor off anyway. Probably leave it on there all the time. It's protected from the weather. Got the seat mounted. And got the canopy mounted. This thing's looking like a carnival ride now. Probably should be wearing a clown suit when I'm operating it. So now let's move on to the tires. We got one tire mounted already and filled with the windshield washer fluid. Took about 3 gallons. So here's the old tire and rim. Remember I said it might be a little too wide? Well, we couldn't even bust it off, it's so rusted on there. So I went out in the junkyard, had a scrub cadet, which has got the same bolt pattern, and this is 1.5 inches narrower. And we weighed that tire, the one we did, we weighed it after we got done, and it weighs 30 pounds, and it's got about 3 gallons of washer fluid in it. I probably already said that. So what I had to do is I had to open up this center hole, and we had to do some other modifications, which we're going to show you on this one, and I'm going to show you how I filled it. So we're going to film all that now on this tire. So this hub is a little bigger in diameter than this. So we need to machine this down, and the way I'm going to do that is with my Hillbilly machining, which is this 4-inch grinder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the mower up and put it in gear, and as this is spinning, I'm going to grind it down until it fits inside that wheel. Let's test fit it. Oh yeah, there's enough clearance in there. So now I gotta open up the center of the rim for this. And always make sure you wear the right safety equipment when you're working with one of these grinders. You should have face shield. So now I'm gonna open up that center hole. I could take my oxygen and amphetamine torch and torch it out, but you know, there are other methods of doing it. I'm going to use this step bit to get close, and then I'm going to grind it and do some other stuff to get it bigger. So again, face shield, safety glasses. I'm going to take the 4-inch grinder and I'm going to grind on both sides around like this, and then I'm going to take my angle grinder with the carbide tip on it and open it up. This is just going to thin out the metal, so that way this thing will cut real fast. You'll see. See, now it's nice and thin, because, you know, maybe you don't have an oxygen and amphetamine torch. You'd be like, man, I wish there was a different way you could show how to open up the center of that rim, because I don't have one of those torches. And maybe you got a 4-inch grinder, or you know somebody. And you can buy these things pretty cheap. This carbide burr. There it is, all done. It ain't pretty, but it works. We just needed to open it up. Okay, Okay, so I went ahead and mounted the tire, and then I aired it up to seat it, both beads on the rim, and then I went ahead and broke the bead on one side. So this side is seated, and the other side broke down. And then I'm going to use this tool I bought like 10 years ago. It's a valve stem tool. It's pretty cool. I never used it till now. It's got a valve cord remover on one side. You can also screw it on this side if you want shorter. So we're going to put that through here. And I got a new valve stem. And what we're going to do is, we're not going to pull it all the way through. I'm just going to pull it through a little bit. Just to kind of slow down the air. And then I'm going to put that right here so I don't forget where it's at. And then I'm going to take my air tank and I'm going to blast air in there, and then we're going to have to put some air in there so we can get the bead to seat again. Then I'm going to put that tool on, push it in there, and then we're going to fill that, put the windshield washer solvent through that hole. So this is a two-man job. So I had to go and get some help. So I had to enlist the help of my friend Elkskin. There's Elkskin.
Hey, what's up?
Don't make eye contact with my fans.
But why?
I don't want you making eye contact, and don't look in the camera. All right, Elkskins, are you ready?
Yes. Hold on, let me get...
Don't let that fall in there.
That's right.
All right. We'll put this on.
Now push it in.
Okay. Now we'll let the air out. Now we're going to take our fluid transfer pump that we sell in our online store, and I rigged up some pieces of hose here. I put a piece of hose here, and I got another piece of hose inside a piece of hose, and then I got this other piece of hose inside a piece of hose. Does that make a lot of sense? I got hose inside hose. And that happens to fit right in here. We'll just stick it in the jug, cut the top off so it would fit. Turn it on, Elkskins. 3 gallons we're going to pump in there. So you're not going to get it filled 100%. You're probably going to get it filled like 99%. See, you can see it in there. And now we're going to pull the stem through, and then we'll put some air in it. Not a lot of air. We're just going to put a little bit of air. We want it to be not real hard. We want it when it gets weight on it so we can get most of the tread. We want to contact the ground. Yeah, it won't even register on my gauge. That's what we want. Just a little bit of air in it. Whoa, that thing's heavy. Like I said, we weighed it on a scale, a bathroom scale, and it weighed 30 pounds. Now we got to do is put it on and do the back tire. Okay, so now we got all the tires on. We got new boots on. And we added about 10 to 15 pounds to that rear wheel. And I got a feeling that I'm going to need some more counterweight back there. But we can add that later. And I also noticed on the front here, we were getting a lot of flex off of this with this piece of angle iron. So I ended up boxing it in. Me and Elkskins were looking at it. We were taking it out, test driving it, and Elkskins goes, "You're getting a lot of flex off the front of that, Taryl." you probably should box that in. So we went, got some more of that 3-inch angle. We cut 2 pieces and welded it in there and boxed this in. And that took care of any kind of flex we were getting off the front. Because originally, when I built this thing, you know, started building it, it's like, well, I'm just going to be picking up, you know, like Craftsman mowers and stuff. And then as the build progressively went on, it's like, well, what if I want to pick up like a heavy zero turn or something? You know, I want to be able to pick that up. So we started beefing it up more and more, you know, as projects go on. So we have to give this thing a name. And I seen in the comments that somebody called it Moto. And I like that name, Moto. Not to be confused with the band Moto, Masters of the Obvious. This is Moto, M-O-W-T-O-W. So that's what we're going to call it, Moto. And there's just one more thing I need to do. And that's, got to put some stickers on there. All right. Okay. Now we're ready to go pick up some mowers. Let's see what this thing will pick up. Now I know what you're thinking, well, Taryl, you gonna paint it? You gonna paint it all up? You should paint it. Yeah, let's paint it. You should paint it all up. This is a tool. This thing's gonna sit outside. I'm not gonna paint this thing all up. I'll be afraid of scratching it or something. It's gotta look like this, raw. We want it to look raw. It's a tool. We'll be picking up tractors and stuff in the yard. So no, there won't be no painting. Look at this thing. This looks like something they drive around in the circus. All right, let's go pick up some tractors. When they got all 4 flat tires, it's not easy to maneuver. So you know what I'm gonna have to do? Is make me some forks so I could just pick up the whole tractor, especially these junk Craftsmans. So let's take this off and try to pick up something with the hitch like we did in the very first video. So when I take this off, what am I gonna do with it? Well, let me store it back here. That way when I need it, there it is. See, like it says here, Craftsman. So yeah, I'll have to make me an adapter so I can just pick up those old tractors with no good tires on them at all. All right, let's use the pin hitch. Caught me pumping iron. Well, we had to make some more improvements to Moto, and I'm going to show you what we've done now. So we noticed that when we were dragging tractors, as you've seen in some of the footage, it wasn't steering good. We couldn't get it to steer right. So we cut this loose and put a bolt in there, so now this pivots. And that happened to help a lot by doing this. So now we got this to pivot in the front. Another thing we did is I cut a hole in the top and I glued in a piece of plexiglass. Glued it in with the HB350, which we sell in our online store. And that works good. It's glued in there, it ain't never coming out. So that kind of helps with me. You know, I can look through here and I can look on the camera. And another problem we had is with the canopy. The canopy was shaking real bad. And the camera was shaking, and, well, not the camera, but the monitor was shaking, and you couldn't see the monitor too good. So I put in these supports, which stiffened it up a lot. I used some 3/4 conduit, and then I welded a brace from the frame to here, and that really stiffened up this canopy. And I stretched it a lot tighter. I got it a lot tighter on the frame. Because I got in it one morning to move a tractor, and then it rained the day before. There was a bunch of water puddled in the back, and it all ran down my back, that cold water. It was cold. Oh, I better fix that canopy. So I ended up having to take the motor apart because that shorted wire, it wouldn't work anymore, it wouldn't go up and down. So I took it apart, and there was a wire that was broken that goes to one of the brushes, and one of the brushes was stuck too. I was surprised this thing even worked. So I took it apart, soldered the wire back on, cleaned it all real good in there, got the brush unstuck, put it back together. Now it works all the time. Works good now. And then there was another problem. I couldn't get no satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. So I added 2 more wheels to the back of the Moto. A customer said my tractor broke down. Maybe next week we can tow it in. I can't get no satisfaction. Like my song, Satisfaction. So look what I did. Added 2 more wheels. Filled them with windshield washing solvent. So now each tire weighs 20 pounds. So that's 20, 40, 60. And then I added some barbell weights. 2 5-pound weights on each side. So that's 10, and 10 on the other side, that's 20. Now we got 80 pounds. Plus we've got this weight, which is 65 pounds. And then look under the seat, 4 more 10-pound weights. So we have a total weight of 185 pounds on the rear now, which has given us a lot more satisfaction. So while we were doing the build, all of a sudden a package shows up from Taryl fan Martin, and it's this horn. And there's a little note in there that said, you know, maybe you can use this horn, Taryl, on your Palomino or one of your other projects. So I thought, you know what? Let's put the horn on the moto. And look where I put the horn button. Right here in the thumb grip. Get out of the way, I'm towing a lawnmower. Get out of the way. Mower coming through. So I think it's done now. I think that's all I'm going to do to it. I may make some other attachments in the future if needed, but I think it's done. And then I know what you're thinking. Taryl, are you going to paint it? You going to paint it, Taryl? No, I'm not going to paint it. The thing's going to sit outside. Why would I make it look all nice just to let it sit outside and get rain and snowed on? And we're going to be using it, dragging stuff around and pushing stuff, so no, we're not painting it. It looks good the way it is. I like the way it looks now. I like those 3 wheels on the back. That looks good. So maybe you're curious to know what I got into this thing. So like I said, I bought this and another mower for $200. So figure 100 for this one, 100 for the other one. So I paid 100 for this, and then I had to buy these 2 tires. And they were $50 a piece, so that's $100 for them. 3 tires on the back I got from my brother Farrell. He gave me a whole bunch of tires one time and he didn't want to shop anymore. So those were free. The switch, had to buy that switch, was $6.99. The washer fluid for all the tires was $29.38, almost $30. The gaskets to do the valve job were $69, just for all the gaskets. And the exhaust valves I had from my brother Farrell, brand new, so I didn't have to pay for them. The one hydraulic hose I had to have a fitting put on the end of it. That was $19.19 to have that done. Put a new air filter in it, was $11.89. Camera system was $20. I had to put a new battery in it. That was $42.95. The new fuel line, the petcock, the tank bushing, the fuel filter, all that added up to $19.95. And a new gas cap was $8.50. And then of course, all my time to do it. So just in parts, $228.85, and then another $100 I spent to buy the mower. So $328.85 to build this, because the rest was all junk I had laying around. So let's take this old junk John Deere tractor we got here, push it out and drag it around. Well, that's all there is to Moto, and we'll keep you informed if I do any upgrades to it in the future. So subscribe to this YouTube channel, Taryl Fixes All. Go to our web store, buy some Taryl apparel. You gotta look good while you're riding on your lawnmower. waving at your neighbors. Hey, look at me, I got a spark plug necklace and Taryl shirt on. And they'll be like, who's that? Follow me with your tow vehicles on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Moto is done. Now we gotta go out and use it some more. Woo! All right. Oh no, we didn't want to do that.
No, you didn't.
I couldn't get no satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. So I added 2 more wheels to the back of the moto. A customer said my tractor broke down. Maybe next week we can tow it in. I can't get no satisfaction. Like my song, Satisfaction.